Chisora. I keep pronouncing his name as
Yeah,
Chisora.
it's only been 2 fights he had, I think, in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, he
He's
had
coming from
three.
three. Okay, so
Yeah,
three. He's coming from the cruiserweight division, so he looked really good in his cruiserweight bouts.
yeah, yeah.
A lot of people were thinking like, hey, maybe he's ready for the heavyweight, so let's move him on up. But people just think maybe because Anthony Joshua lost versus Andy Ruiz, maybe he's a little overrated. Anthony Joshua is really good, man. He's a really good boxer. He's really strong.
Yeah.
You saw him on the rematch against Andy Ruiz. He adjusted. He got serious and he
Mhm.
did what he had to do. He did his adjustments. Andy Ruiz didn't come ready, and Anthony Joshua did his fight. He had to box him on the outside because Andy Ruiz is quick and he's heavy-handed. So
Yeah.
so by no means is Anthony Joshua a chump. So at the moment, I don't see Usyk upsetting Anthony Joshua. Maybe a good couple good rounds, the early rounds,
Mm.
maybe 1 to 3,
Yeah.
but no, not right now. I don't see him beating Anthony Joshua. Um, honestly, I don't see him giving anybody trouble right now.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got to fight like what's this guy's name? The Baby Miller or whatever.
Big Baby Miller.
Big Baby Miller or the
Yeah.
other guy. What is the other guy? Parker maybe.
Oh, Joseph Parker, the Samoan.
Joseph. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
maybe fight a couple of those guys, and then we see if he's ready for Anthony Joshua. I mean Fury. He's got no business in there with Fury. To be
Yeah.
honest.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, basically, the Joshua Usyk fight is going ahead. So I mean, it's like it's too late to discuss him fighting somebody else because that fight has already looked like it's in motion to take place. So
it,
I agree with you that I don't think he should have been rushed up to the top because that's back in the like back in the day when Holyfield came from light heavyweight to heavyweight. The heavyweights were smaller. These guys are humongous. So
uh-huh.
yeah. So
Yeah.
once he stepped in the ring with everybody except Wilder is over 250. Like Wilder was 230 something in the second fight with Fury. So he's trying to come. He act like he want to come in heavier, which I don't think is good for him. But getting back to Zora, I just think them guys are too big for him as a heavyweight now. Like you say, him as a was it cruiserweight or light heavyweight? He's light heavyweight, right? Or was it
Say that again.
cruiserweight? Where did he come from? He came from light heavy or cruiserweight?
Cruiserweight. Usyk.
Yeah.
Usyk he's been fighting at the cruiserweight.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so he looked good when he was in the cruiserweight division. Obviously, that's why we have divisions.
Yeah.
The heavyweight. He's probably got a. I mean, I know he's had what 3 fights, but I mean, I don't know those guys he fought. To be honest, I don't
Yeah.
really know them. And I saw the fights. They didn't throw anything significant. They didn't look like they were basic had a good boxing foundation, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
so that's it's easy to look good like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so just because of that, that's why I'm telling you, this is a whole nother level. These guys are huge, just like what you're saying,
Yeah.
and they're really, I mean, for big guys, they box really well. Besides Wilder just having that tremendous right hand, but
Yeah.
even him, if he catches you, you're out. Because I
Oh
mean,
man.
he
Yeah. Hey,
they're bigger. Mm-hmm.
not to get off topic, but I wanted to remember to ask you this question. What do you think about, say, like how they have all these, not boxing divisions, but different promoters? Like we got Eddie Hearn with Dazin, you got Bob Arum with Top Rank. Do you think that the boxing fans are sometimes getting angrier at the boxers, like just say we want to see these boxers fight, but it could be the promoters keeping them from fighting because you don't want to lose your cash cow. Like say if you're a boxing promoter, say you got Anthony Joshua. So you know that you want to milk Anthony Joshua as long as you can before you throw him in there. You don't think that that's what's going on? Like for the people meeting up?
Absolutely. Most definitely that's happening, you know. That's why it takes us a long time to get some good fights, you know. Yeah. Look at I think I said that on the last video we had. And they were all in the same with the same company, you know, the 147, the welterweights, yeah. Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, they were all without Heyman. Yeah. And they weren't fighting each other. So let alone other people, other promotions, they're not gonna fight if it doesn't make sense, you know. That's way harder. I think I was just watching a video not too long ago about I think they were interviewing Danny Garcia, and they were asking like if he thought they were gonna make a Errol Spence versus Crawford fight, and they were just saying, he was pretty much saying what I'm telling you right now. It doesn't make sense financially because they don't really draw a crowd at the moment, you know. It's a huge fight, but it won't sell for you know. It's a very huge fight. Like me and you, everyone in the boxing world, they all want to see that fight, but it won't sell. It won't sell like a Manny Mayweather just yet, you know. Yeah, it's not there in terms of its popularity, but real boxing fans like me and you, we want to see that fight already. You know what I mean? Yeah. In terms of the crowd, it's not ready. So financially, what he was saying, financially, it doesn't make sense right now, and because of that, it's probably not going to happen. So that's going back to what you just asked me. If it's not making sense financially, I mean, why would I go over to Top Rank and have my champion risk his you know, his I guess his status, and then on top of that I won't get paid. So of course they're doing that, you know, and we see that a lot. Another good example, the Ryan Garcia, you know, at the moment I think Oscar is kind of protecting him a little bit. You know, he doesn't want to kind of take them everywhere. You know, he's feeding them little boxers here and there, just like what they did to Canelo a little bit in a way, you know. But that's how it is right now, unfortunately. You know, if it doesn't make sense financially, they won't make those fights.
Yeah, yeah. Which make a lot of sense. I was looking at their age. Anthony Joshua is 31. And Usyk is 30. So these guys are kind of not old, but I didn't really know that Anthony Joshua was 31. I thought he was still like in his late 20s. So, you know, in boxing, like once you get between, I say about your good years is maybe like 30 to 30, 36, 37 years old. So it's like if we don't get these fights pretty soon, man, we might not never see them. You know, because just for like, who else was that? Oh, Deontay Wilder is what, 35 or 36 years old. So it's like certain fighters that they gotta, these things gotta happen now. We're not gonna never see them. Wilder probably can't fight Joshua in 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
You make up exactly, you know, and that's what I was saying with well, Usyk. I know you're talking about Usyk and what is his name? Joshua. Anthony Joshua, but also with Crawford and Spence, you know, I think I was looking at Crawford. He was getting a little bit older.
Yeah, Crawford in his 30s.
Exactly, somewhere around there. But I knew he was on his either late 20s to early 30s, and I was doing the math, and I was like, the longer we're extending it, the more possibilities we're not going to get them on their primes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so that'll be very devastating because we want to get them on their primes when they're both good, Because then after that it's a bad argument. We're gonna be like, well, you know what? He was on his way down. He was already aging, just like what happened with Floyd Mayweather versus Pacquiao.
Yeah.
It was really hard. They were old already. We were saying, yo, if the younger Pac-Man would have fought him, who knows what would have happened? We're just never gonna know.
Yeah, they both was better in their primes than when they fought. So I don't think we got to see, even I don't know who would have won, but I don't think we got to see the best of the fight that we were supposed to see. Like the real, the buzzsaw Pac-Man that just buzz you around the ring. And then Mayweather was like when he was Money Mayweather, what was he for Pretty Boy? He was a little more quicker, and of course he was younger. Both of them was younger. So like the fight that we got, it was like it's almost like the fight we get now from Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. It's like an older version of them. Like we don't know because Wilder didn't start the boxing until he was 20, so we don't really know what is he peaking now, or is that the highest he can go? Because if he started boxing so late, so that took a lot of dimensions away from him for his training. I didn't know Wilder was an Olympian, so I was reading about him. I didn't know he was an Olympian, so he do have a little amateur background, which is it seems like the ones that have an extensive amateur background seem to be more sound. Like the boxers like Pacquiao and them they used to have like 100 amateur fights and all that kind of stuff, like under their record before they stepped in the ring. Now the guys are coming in with less amateur fights than like pro fights that they have. So it's like they want to get to the money. So now it's not about that. They want to hurry up and get in the ring and get to the money because you feel you're good. So they're not really working on their craft. Can you hear me?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got you. I was just fixing up over here. You make so much. Yeah, you're right. A guy that has a lot of amateur background was Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
He had a very good amateur background, and leading up to the Joshua fight, he had only lost one time versus that one. I think it was Parker, right? The champ.
Yeah, he lost to Joseph Parker. Yeah.
Exactly.
I like Andy Ruiz. If he could stay in shape, and like remember how we discussed taking off all the weight, what that does to you, like through your career. Like if you I think Andy Ruiz was maybe almost, wasn't he over 300 pounds?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact number, but he did put a lot of weight after the second fight. And then in his last fight with Arreola, he lost a lot of weight. A lot of people were saying that he should have kind of kept his weight at like the first fight with Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's like pretty much what they're saying is, hey man, if what you did with Anthony Joshua the first time worked, like you shouldn't have changed anything really,
Exactly. Yeah. I thought that myself. I thought that like I didn't view him as that fight. I just thought whatever weight that was, because it was basically the same weight when he was coming up to face Joshua. He was basically around the same weight. So why try to change something that was working for you? You don't need to come in with a six pack. You was known for getting in the inside, knocking these dudes out. So I mean, it's all good to want to be in better shape, but sometimes what people are looking at don't matter. I mean, just look at him compared to Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua looked like Mr. Olympian. So I know a bunch of people just looking out on the outside, they will go, well, oh no, this guy can't beat that guy. Just from looking at him. Same thing with Fury. like they always talking about how Fury looks. So he done proved like Andy Ruiz and Fury is the improved all that what a body has to look like in a fight room. You know, because Fury, I don't know what kind of workout he does in his midsection, but I never really seen anybody really go to his midsection like how you're supposed to. But I don't know if it's that easy to get to him. Like we said, you know, it's easy to say, well, go to his body. But when somebody throwing punches at you, you got to recalibrate what you're doing. Like your coach telling you to go to the body, but we'll say, okay, but what about these punches coming to my head? You know, like, what do you expect me to just to stop blocking these punches and go to his body? So the coach don't know how those punches feel to you. So you're going to do what's safe for you, even though the coach is giving you good directions. It may not be good directions for you in the fight while the fight is going on.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Me either. You make that's a very good point. I haven't seen anybody really go to the body. Like you said, it's easier said than done. And sometimes if they're punching you, you know, you feel the punch. Well, you don't want to throw your punch because you know you're gonna. Once you get one, they gonna get one too. You know, they might get two. So yeah, yeah, exactly. So no, for sure. You know, but hey, man, he's whatever he's doing right. You know, he's beating everyone. I think he's still undefeated, right? Fury's undefeated.
Yeah.
So yeah, thus far they haven't exposed him. His body, whatever. Like I said, if it's working, don't change it. You know.
Yeah.
So by all means, man.
So what's your take on Davis and Barrios, Gervonta Tank Davis and Marion Barrios? I know you tuned in.
Oh man, that was a great fight.
I was
on my feet. I was on my feet the entire fight, man. That was a very, very interesting fight. You know, I was telling my friends, you know, Barrios, he has to fight the way he fought the first round for 12 rounds.
Yeah.
I said, you have to do that for 12 rounds. I was like, and I told him, I was like, if he can do it for 12 rounds, he's gonna win.
Yeah.
If he cannot do it, and if he folds, he's gonna lose. Yeah. And I'm sure enough, you know, when Gervonta Davis was pulling forward, which threw Barrios, it completely threw Barrios. He didn't know how to handle that. You know, when he was marching forward, his power, he didn't know how to handle that. You know, and then matter of fact, there were moments where he was staying in the clinch, trying to brawl with him, and I'm like, you got the long arms. This guy has the power. You felt the power. Why are you gonna do that? Why are you gonna stay in the pocket? But hey, that's the Mexican boxers. They always they want to brawl with you, man. They just love that. They're hard-headed, you know. They want to brawl with you. So anyways, he was brawling with him a couple rounds, and well, you saw what happened. He couldn't handle his punches. Everybody was thinking, we're you know, trying to see, hey, is Gervonta gonna keep his power moving up 2 divisions? Is he gonna keep that power? And we saw it. He kept the power. Barrios, once he felt it, he didn't know how to go about it. I was telling my friends what he should have done is those last rounds, he should have started clinching, hold him, you know. So you saw the inexperience by that guy, Barrios, and you know, he suffered the consequences. He couldn't handle the 12 rounds, and great boxers would have done that for 12 rounds. I mean, another skillful boxer, he would have handled that 12 rounds. I don't want to compare him. I don't want to compare him with, you know, obviously Mayweather. But remember when Mayweather got rocked by Mosley, what did he do? He held on for dear life on his hand, you know? He held that arm for that whole round. He was just holding them, remember? He was going, he was holding them and he was just staying close to him because he didn't want to get hit anymore.
That's the hardest. Matter of fact, I seen that highlight about a week ago. And I think that's the hardest I've ever seen Mayweather get hit where he was finna go. Like he actually wobbled. But Oh man, Madonna kind of hit him hard, but he didn't hit him like that. And also, Zab Judah hit him like that, but I think that shot from Mosley, because I had never seen Mayweather. I said, oh man, I forgot I had never seen this. Because I seen him buckle. And like you say,
Right.
he went to survival mode until he got it back together. It wasn't no more fighting after that. You know, it wasn't no macho fighting. So he had to that was a thinking time. So he had to think, if I get hit like this again, it might be night. You know, because that was a heck of a shot C0-THE hit him with.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
so but you know, that's what great boxers do. You know, they adjust. They go back to the drawing board and to their corner, and they figure out a plan. You know,
Yeah.
Barrios. They I don't know. I can't remember if Virgil Hunter was telling them. I think he did tell him to go back to that jab, but
Yeah.
I would have let him know, hey man, don't brawl with this guy, you know, because you saw the power, and you know, and you saw Barrios for what, the first 6 rounds. When he was jabbing him, and Gervonta wasn't doing much, right? And another thing, I don't know if you noticed that I particularly thought that Floyd Mayweather coming to his corner quite frequently was frustrating him a little bit, you know, because I
Yeah.
felt like I think he felt pressure, that he was kind of constantly on his ear, like telling him something. Um, I personally thought that's why he couldn't get off the early rounds. Obviously, I think he told them once in the 7, 8 rounds that he was losing in the unofficials. But
He told him that after the ninth round, going into the 10th. But I think if Mayweather wasn't guiding him, I thought Mayweather guided him to victory. Because remember when he told him he was down on the unofficial cards, and Gervonta kind of looked at him like, what you mean? I just knocked this guy down twice in the 8th round. But like you say, those first 5 or 6 rounds, like I couldn't really give Gervonta a round. Because, you know, like Mario kept him back, like he fought him like a tall man. Mario Barrios is a bad dude, man. Remember I was telling you, Barrios,
yeah, so
I was petrified for Gervonta Davis in that fight. Because he gave up just about everything that you're supposed to have in boxing, like height, you know, the reach. Mario Barrios had all the things working in his favor, but like you say,
yeah,
he had to implement them every round. He had to come out and focus on that every round, and he lost focus when he started to sit down and want to fight him. So that's when, and Tank, I don't think Mario Barrios ever had to bag up in any of his previous fights. Because I seen him fight, I never seen him bag up. So I think that bothered him crucially in that fight, like having to fight off your back foot. A lot of fighters don't know the experience of like Wilder and Fury. Wilder never really had to punch off his back foot. All his knockouts, he almost running at you. Like when Wilder come to hit you, he come from halfway across the ring. You know, so you just picture how long he is and how far the shot is coming from. So the velocity on it. So Barrios is technically sound, though. I still could say he'll beat anybody in the division. I would like to see him against like the top guys, Josh Taylor, because they had him rated number 10. I think he should be higher than that in that division. They got like, go ahead.
absolutely. You know, after this fight, I think his stock kind of went up in a certain sense. You know, like just like what you just said, he seemed a little bit technically grounded. You know, he did. I'm telling you, these first rounds, he was doing what he was supposed to do, but you have to do that for 12 rounds, and then if you see some adversity, you have to do some readjustments, right? So when
Yeah.
Gervonta was pushing forward, that's when your coach should have came in and told you something. Personally, right now, I don't know what he could have done because obviously it's easier said than done. But when Gervonta was coming forward, you had to, you were supposed to readjust right there. So
Yeah,
that's where I saw a little bit of inexperience. You know, an experienced boxer would have done something differently and readjusted there. But absolutely, he showed some good qualities. I would
yeah,
like to see him with some other good boxers, just like you. I think he would give them a good fight.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
I like
absolutely.
Barrios. I try to be like I had to like have a conversation with myself. I had to be open to, because you know, if you be truthful with yourself, like I said, if I go out in the streets, I go up to say Andre Ward and Canelo is from the fight. So both people are almost pulling for their race. They forgot about the fight, so they automatically just I'm Andre Ward because you know I'm a black guy and the other guy they will pick it. But so I had to blank that thought out, and you have to pick, and you have to give the best boxer credit and give the best boxer credit. That's why when I seen, remember, but in the last video when I was telling you about, because you hadn't seen Barrios that much then, so that's why I was glad you seen this fight. But when I was so scared for Gervonta from what I seen Barrios do to people. Barrios got just a high of knockout record as Gervonta Davis. I mean, he just a few off, but he got just as a high knockout record. And I heard Gervonta Davis say after the fight that he was nervous the whole fight. So remember we was talking about how that keeps you awake in the fight, like how you can't get what's the word? Like you can't get lackadaisical against the opponent. Like say if Gervonta Davis was fighting a lesser opponent. I seen Gervonta Davis kind of play with people. He didn't do none of that stuff against Barrios because of the threat that Barrios carried. Barrios was a threat to him, and he knew it. Both of them was a threat to each other. So I think it raised both of their game to a high level. But I would still, I don't think Barrios loses any credibility at all. Like I can't take nothing away from that fight because he went to the 11th round, he almost finished the fight. But just the fact that what kind of fight it was that, man, that was a great fight for boxing fans, man. I mean, like people like me, man, I'm waiting on something like that. But
Absolutely, man.
I thought Barrios, not that he didn't do what he was saying, but what I thought. So I had to give Gervonta Davis more credit because I thought the fight would go a little different. Not that I knew who the winner would be, but I thought Barrios would almost I thought Gervonta Davis wouldn't get close to beating him. I thought Barrios would kind of maintain his distance, but he hit Gervonta with some body punches, man, that I don't know how Gervonta stood there. I seen him hit him flush like 2-3 in a row, like bam, bam, bam. And I was like, man, this dude, man, that dude Barrios that's a bad dude.
Yeah. I think he caught him. Yeah, you're right. In one round, I think he kind of stumbled him a little bit.
Yeah, I seen him hit him in the body, and Gervonta Davis had to pause for a minute, like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
I never seen nobody do that to him. Like I told people, I said, Mario Barrios is Leo Santa Cruz on steroids. You know what I mean? Like if you seen the fight with Gervonta and Leo, and then so okay, now you put Leo on steroids. So that's what you're getting from Barrios. You're getting a bigger person and almost a better fighter. Like he hits harder, So if, because Lee, excuse me, Leo was kind of giving Gervonta a hard time.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So weight divisions matter a lot, you know, and that's why I was telling you on the previous video that Leo was a small guy, and Leo was the one moving up in weights, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, so now we saw Gervonta, and he went up I think 2 weight divisions,
yeah.
and well, you can see that weight matters. So the
Oh
bigger the
yeah,
guy, a little bit, you know, it'll be a little bit harder. It almost reminded me a little bit of the Canelo Kovalev. Um, Kovalev was keeping Canelo away with that jab. He kept him away until the 11th round, I believe,
yeah,
until Canelo caught him. But
yeah. I thought he
and so it
was.
kind of gave.
I thought Kovac was. He got to the point. You know what they say? You got a jab. It's not a jab with power on it. It's kind of like you just gauging your opponent. He started to jab at Canelo like that. Like he started to just like try to get that little range finder. And Canelo timing is so immaculate. That's like a death sentence waiting to happen to throw out a lazy jab against Canelo. You know how many times is Canelo gonna let you lay out a lazy jab? And he's the master of timing. So
Yeah.
everything he doing, he waiting on you to throw that next lazy jab out, like he did Billy Joe Sanders. Billy Joe Sanders stuck that right jab out, like, and he didn't put no heat on it. And what Canelo do? Timing with the uppercut. He stuck it out just like that. And that was it. Stuck it out too long. And Canelo, before he was moving, Canelo had already timed him, was in motion. Like that's a time thing. That's nothing that, well, I can wait till he put this punch out. He already knew from the rounds, this is what this guy is doing. So the next time he do this, I'm gonna break him off something proper. Hey, so
Right.
oh, man, you got me talking, man. I'm getting there. What you think about Loma and Nikatini?
That was another great fight as well, you know. So to be honest, obviously, the what is his name? What was his name? His opponent,
Nikatini.
Nakatini, or whatever his name is. Obviously, it's been a year or so since what Teofimo fought him. Over a year, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
He's not the same guy. He was defeated already. I know people are gonna be like, like it's the same guy, but time matters. A year is a long time.
Yeah.
You know, styles make fights.
It's actually closer to 2 years.
Oh, exactly. So yeah, and styles make fights, and that was a perfect match for Loma because the guy is long. The guy is long, and if remember, if obviously Teofimo studied the heck out of Loma, so he cut his angles. But the master of angles was Loma before he got defeated by Teofimo.
Yeah.
So this fight was perfect because the guy, when he's throwing his punches, he's very long. So when he's long, Loma was just coming in to the sides, and that's it. You can't see him. He's on this side, and he's on that side, and you still throwing your jab out there. You still throwing your hook, and he on the other side. By the time you come back, so it was a perfect match for Loma. Loma started early, so normally he's a late starter, but this time he started pushing early. Obviously, he knew he had to prove a point. Like, hey, I want the fight. He wants the rematch with Teofimo, so I got to prove myself and I got to show that I still got it, and make sure that the people and the boxing community knows that, hey, man, I'm still here. So absolutely, it'll be another great fight with Teofimo. I think his dad was Teofimo's. Lopez's dad was there at the ringside, and they were talking with Bob and whatnot. So they're willing to do a second fight. At least that's what the dad said. You know, I'm not trying to just kind of belittle his opponent, it didn't seem like he went there to fight. So
Yeah,
honestly, that was
Lomachenko kind of roughed him up. He would get in the, like, you ever see Loma when they get in close with him, and he'll still hit you with that left hand. Like if you try to come
yes,
in close, he'll start hitting you, and that's his power hand. So he started doing that to him. So
yeah,
those fighters, to me, like I just took that as you haven't watched the tapes. You gotta watch the tapes and see what he do. So you know when he come on the inside, this is what he gonna do to you. You gotta be ready for it. Like Mike Tyson gonna elbow you. Like, and the referee gonna come tell Mike Tyson, hey Mike, don't do that. But your days now.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's experience right there, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and you got to do what you got to do. Obviously, we want to keep it clean, but there's certain little tricks that come with the sport.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
after
Protect yourself at all times.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So no, yeah. With that being said, Lomachenko, he looked great. He looked good. He still got it. Obviously, one defeat. Well, two defeats now. But I mean, with that defeat, just because he lost, I mean, he's still dangerous. And keep in mind, he's moving up weight division. So
Yeah,
with the Teofimo Lopez, Teofimo was technically a bigger guy, and he was skillful. So remember
yeah,
that
yeah,
saying. Normally, what they say, a bigger good boxer will always beat a smaller good boxer. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
just because of the weight, they're both great boxers, but Teofimo is bigger, so that's
Mm-hmm.
gonna matter a lot. On the second fight, if they have a second fight, which I hope they do, because that was a great fight as well.
Yeah,
Um, I don't think a lot would change. The what is his name, Lomachenko. If he starts early, he can probably pocket some rounds. But to
mm-hmm.
be honest, I think he started late because he felt the power. It was
Yeah,
not
yeah.
that he. It
That
was
was
not.
my thoughts when I hear him. So I don't know what was going on with his shoulder or whatever was going on before the fight, but the day when that fight took place, the first 5 or 6 rounds, Teofimo Lopez was so strong. Like you could just see just his jab. Like when it was like Loma was like a little man compared to him. So like you said, he's a bigger man than him. So you can see it like in his shoulders and everything. Like Lomachenko is a very great boxer, crafty boxer, but for us, like the weight and everything that Teofimo carries, and Lomachenko doesn't go up higher after the fight. Teofimo might gain 20 or 25 pounds. So
There you go.
he's naturally bigger than Lomachenko. Lomachenko has to gain weight to come up to fight him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because Teofimo is the natural bigger guy, so the body will adjust better when you gain a little weight than as
yeah,
to opposed to Lomachenko. Your weight is not really higher than that, so it's not gonna adjust as good as Teofimo's body will adjust.
yeah. Especially
So so
after the dehydration. You know, after you
exactly.
weigh in, boxers come back in 15, 20 pounds heavier the next day, and that's a lot of weight leaning on you. You know that
Yeah.
you don't have. See, Lomo, he didn't have to worry about deep rehydrating the next day and coming in with 10 more pounds because he tried to gain weight to get to there. So the only thing that can happen to him is his body is going to go back down because his body's not used to that. So
Yeah.
Teofimo, as soon as Teofimo started eating, he gonna blow up right after the weigh-in. He might have been 10, 15 pounds heavier in that fight. That they don't discuss how much you weigh the next day. But I'm quite sure I'm quite sure he was 10 pounds heavier, if not 15 pounds heavier.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Without a doubt. That's what I mean. So that's why I mean. The weight definitely played its role there in that fight, and
Yeah,
because of that, on the second fight, if they were to have a second fight, I still think the same thing will happen, you know, because Teofimo is also very skillful and he's a very smart boxer as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you might think, hey, Lomachenko has now he's probably gonna do better because he knows now how Teofimo fights. But guess what? Teofimo, the same thing. Now I know how he fights. I can do the same thing. I can readjust to whatever he brings as well. So just
Exactly.
because of that, we, not a lot's gonna change. That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
that's the only difference, you know. Then as to when you get an inexperienced boxer with an experienced boxer and you do a second fight, then the experienced boxer will probably do a way better now because the inexperienced might not change anything because they don't know how. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so you know that's what I'm saying. You know, although Teofimo is young, he's upcoming, but he's also very smart. I personally think he's a very smart intellectual
Oh no,
boxer.
he got I mean, for his age and being a young fighter, his boxing IQ is up there with the best of them. He got
I think
I put Teofimo IQ like with Canelo, and you know everybody that has an high IQ in that ring, Teofimo is, you can enter his name in with the best of them, even though he's an up and coming young fighter,
yeah,
but he's well wherever upcoming he's had, he doesn't just go in there and fight his opponent. Like he seems to do more things on the outside to work on who he's fighting instead of just like you hear some fighters go, well, I don't even watch tape on my opponent, which is the stupidest thing I ever heard. If you finna fight somebody, why not watch the tapes on them? You know, like why wait till you get in the ring? You don't know what this fighter might do. Like Tyson Fury, you don't know which Tyson Fury is coming to fight. So you got to study
exactly.
all his fights. You can't go off of the way he fought Wilder like the first time. Look at the way he came the second time. So it's like you can't put him into a corner.
Yes,
Yeah,
very important. And the
yeah,
corner coaches, very
yeah,
important as well. Very crucial. You need to
yeah,
make sure. So that's why you have to have a good connection with your corner, your trainer, um, uh, because I personally think it's very important. You know,
yeah.
some people might be like, oh, we don't need a corner or whatever. I don't. Some people just think that way, right? Oh, they don't make a difference. No, they make a huge difference. So no,
And then
absolutely.
hats off to Teofimo Lopez's father too. Like you know, he trains Teofimo.
Yeah.
So when I first seen, like you don't never know when Lomachenko gonna start the Matrix thing. When I say the Matrix, that's when he start jumping on the side of you. So you don't never know. He gonna come out and just fight you straight up at first, like this how the fight gonna go. And then he start coming in with that jumping around you. So if you don't know that's when that's coming, you're not gonna know what to do. You know, if you
Exactly.
don't know when he gonna jump around you, what did you? I seen Nikatini, like he was like, well, where does dude go? You know, he was like, where he at?
Yeah.
Teofimo would throw a hook every time he would do that. Every time he do it, it was a hook coming with it. Like every time he moved, yeah. So
There you go.
Lomachenko had to change what he was doing. All
Yeah.
right, we're gonna
Yeah.
dive into Canelo versus Caleb Plant. So
Oh,
you think that fight gonna happen?
I don't know. I was just watching a video earlier stating that I think Eddie Hearn was saying, you know what, we're not gonna wait for him all for a long time. They're still in the process of trying to start a negotiation with him. I think they interviewed Canelo not that long ago as well, and he said, you know, I'm on vacations right now. Right now it's all talk, but soon we will be sending some contracts over, and hopefully we can arrange that fight. But they say
Yeah,
they're not willing to wait so long. But if it um if it happens or doesn't happen, I don't know if we're gonna miss out on a lot. Like I said, the perfect match would be with either Charlo, uh, uh, Benavides. Those are the fights we want to watch. You know, Caleb Plant, I don't want to count him out like that, but he doesn't have a punch.
yeah,
I mean, he's probably a little skillful. I personally don't think he's more crafty than Billy Joe. He's more athletic, so he might last a little bit longer because
Yeah,
of his condition. But I don't think he was craft. I personally don't think he's craftier than Billy Joe Sanders. He
yeah,
doesn't look craftier. His last fight, he didn't look that great, honestly. And he does, like I said, he doesn't have a punching power.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if you can't hurt Canelo, you're not gonna do anything, right?
yeah. It's a done
Mayweather
deal.
Mayweather was an exception because he's crafty. So you ain't gonna hit anything. You're not gonna hit him. You can't hit him, and you gonna get hit twice. You're not
Yeah,
gonna hit him. You're gonna get hit twice. He was just on a whole nother level. So,
yeah,
anyways, besides him, if you don't crack a punch, you're not gonna do anything. We saw that. We saw with Golovkin, he was able to get some rounds in the first fight because
mm-hmm.
he had power, and Canelo was sometimes trading with him, and he was getting hit sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Golovkin gave him some trouble because he cracks a power.
Yeah,
Anybody else, if you don't have any power, I don't see you doing anything to Canelo. So
yeah,
we know Charlo has some power. We know Benavides has some speed and power because they're bigger now. They're 154.
yeah,
They're bigger guys there now. So unless you crack some power, I don't see you guys giving anybody Canelo, I'm sorry, any trouble. So that's what I'm saying. For me, the only guy that could possibly give him trouble, I think, is the Charlo brother, the bigger guy,
mm-hmm.
and probably Benavides at 154. If we're talking about I'm sorry, 160, if we're talking about
168.
going to what? If we're talking about going to the other division, which is I believe 168, where
Yeah.
what's that other guy's name? Bevol, and the other what is it? Is he Ukrainian or Russian? The Bedivere?
I know who you're talking about, man. I forgot that dude. With the beard.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it is
it's
Bedivere.
like ain't it Arthur Abraham?
Exactly, Arthur Bedivere, something like that.
I think it's Arthur
That guy,
Abraham. I think ain't his name Abraham, Arthur Abraham.
something like that. But I think he's Russian or he's somewhere from around that area, Russian,
Yeah.
Ukraine, somewhere over there. And that's a big dude. So those are some bigger guys. Like we seen, if you're going up some divisions, the power is gonna be bigger, harder. So that no, absolutely, they're gonna give him trouble,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
I
But
think
if we're only
I don't think like how you say you think the Charlos like Canelo could have fought the smaller Charlo when Canelo was smaller, but evidently that fight is off the table. So now we have the bigger Charlo. I think that Canelo, I don't think any of them has the power to keep Canelo off of him. You have to have the power to keep him off of you. The last time I seen Canelo hit is when he fought Triple G. And how many fights ago was that? I'm talking about the last time anybody landed a flush punch. He might have been grazed or something by, I think he had like five or six fights since then. So this is 5 or 6 fights with nobody landing a clean flush shot. I mean, that's how good he is. It's not his fault that, he's good. So that's not like a discredit to his opponent. That's a credit to how good he is as a boxer not to get hit and then able, because he's right there in the firestorm with you. They just can't hit him.
Exactly. So no, yeah, you're right. I think were you referring to Daniel Jacobs, right? I think he hit him flush twice.
Yeah, I don't. He acted like he was scared of Canelo. To me, he fought Canelo too cautious. There comes a time where you just gotta like go out here and just throw some bombs and
So
change the fight plan.
That's what I'm saying. It's that's what I'm noticing as we're watching these fights. The problem is if you throw one, you just said it earlier. he's a very great counter puncher. You throw your
Mm-hmm.
jab out there, he gonna counter punch you twice, and they gonna hurt because that's what
Yeah.
everybody's saying. And it's amazing that like they're saying that he got stronger. So
Yeah.
I couldn't really wrap my head around that, but it could be that because he's putting more weight that he's getting stronger. Because
Yeah.
you know, it was like when he was like 154, yeah, he was knocking dudes out, but he wasn't really known for his power, you know.
Yeah.
The guy that was really known for power at 154, 160 was like Golovkin. But now
Mm-hmm.
they're saying he moved up. He has a crack, you know. And then even Jacob said he's like a moving force. He just keeps coming and he's strong. So
Yeah.
so that's why I'm telling you, that's why it's you're like, you know, with Lomachenko, hey, how come he's not throwing? Well, he's not throwing because the other guy's bigger and stronger. If he throws, he's gonna get hit twice. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So same thing with Canelo. You know, you throw something at him, he's gonna come right back at you, and they gonna hurt, and it's a
Yeah.
possibility that's where it's gonna end. You know,
Yeah.
so that's why yeah, you're right. So somebody's got to go in there and push him back. You know,
Yeah.
so right now we don't know who's gonna do that. You know,
Yeah.
certainly it's not gonna be Caleb Plant. Let me tell you that. You know, Caleb Plant's
No.
is gonna move around and do a different kind of fight. You know, he's not
Yeah.
gonna push Canelo back. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So I don't, I just, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't see Caleb Plant giving Canelo trouble. I just
It's
don't see
just
them.
it would be just a matter of time before Canelo caught up to Plant. Like you say, he kind of got enough skills to kind of move around for 3 or 4 rounds until Canelo decides to step on the gas and you know just really start to put it on him.
Yeah.
And David Benavidez, he beats you up from an accumulation of punches. So he don't have that one punch knockout shot. He's beating guys down from hitting them 30 times and with pitter-pat punches. Like Canelo is just like I heard a guy call him, he said Canelo was just like a strong ox. He said his neck and his body, the way he's built now, it's like he just like a brick. He's like you fighting a wall. So it's gonna take somebody, I don't even know if the boxer exists that could beat him. Like, you know, like I can't name somebody right off that could say like, well, this guy will give Canelo trouble. So when I heard Andre Ward talking about coming back, I was like, no, you can't come back and fight Canelo and you ain't had 2 or 3 tune-up fights. You out your mind. Like you were saying last time, the activity of Canelo, he just like a freight train on a path, just mowing everybody down.
Yeah, but Andre Ward knows that he probably do a tune-up if he was to come back. The only thing is that just knowing how the boxing community is and us, we'll probably be like, it's a win-win for Andre Ward because you know if he wins, he wins, right? We're like, oh man, he just beat Canelo. If he loses, we'll be like, well, he was retired. He's a little bit older, so he don't really lose anything. The only person that will end up losing is Canelo, because if he loses, well, he loses to a retired person. If he wins, he's not gonna get the credit. So it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, it doesn't make sense, but it'll be a great fight, absolutely. Andre Ward is he left undefeated. He called out Kovalev and he said, let me get that dude. He beat the boogeyman in his prime. You know, so no, absolutely, you know, Andre Ward is no one to take lightly. So
no, not at all.
But that's right. You know what?
Did you? I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you catch the Erickson Lubin and Jason Rosario fight?
I watched that. Is that the guy that they knocked out? And then they kind of gave him a little punch at the end.
I didn't. You know what? When that fight was on, my Wi-Fi started buffing, and I when I got back, the fight had ended. So I don't know how it ended, but I know that it ended by TKO or KO, but I never went back and seen how it ended.
Yeah, so I guess it started with a punch that was like right on the belt line, you know.
Yeah.
Some of my friends were saying that it was a low blow. I honestly thought it was right on the button. I don't think it hit anything lower than that. Personally, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
And then after that, he hit him with a combination, dropped him once, he got back up, and he dropped him again. And I think they said he hit him one more time while he was already in his knees.
Yeah.
So some people were, just kind of a little upset about that, because you can get disqualified for hitting somebody when they're on the floor already or on their knees.
Yeah.
But other than that, honestly, I didn't see everything. Um, but towards the ending, I mean, it was pretty exciting. Like I said, they were trading, and the guy caught him, and
Yeah.
after that, it was it.
Yeah, it was about it was like three different fight things on at the same time. So I had the Devontae Tank Davis
Oh yeah.
Barrios on my big screen, and I had another little laptop on with that fight on. But I'm trying to pay attention to the top notch fighters. Hey,
Yeah.
give me a fantasy pick of two fighters from a different era that you would have liked to have seen fight each other.
Man,
any weight division, like anybody that, but as long as they match up, but no matter if they welterweights or heavyweights, any weight division.
Yeesh. That's a very good one. Let me see. I would probably put man, this is a hard one. I guess one of my favorite boxers is Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
So and I'm gonna be extremely biased, but I would like to see him probably with Anthony Joshua at heavyweight division. Yeah, I'm a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of Anthony Joshua. I think I think what kind of got it. He's a little chinny. I'm not gonna lie, but he's really skillful. I would like to see that fight, honestly, because it will let me know how Mike Tyson would have done in this heavyweight division, which in my opinion, and my biased opinion, because like I said, I'm a huge Mike Tyson fan.
Yeah.
I think he would have demolished everyone in the heavyweight division right now.
Brian, you talking about prime time Mike Tyson, like when he was just, knocking out everybody before he went to jail and all that. That Mike Tyson, the Mike Tyson that fought Michael Spinks, like that Tyson, the destroyer Mike Tyson.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Mike Tyson would have, if both of them would have, Anthony Joshua could have met up with Mike Tyson, I don't think Anthony Joshua could handle the velocity of Mike coming. You know how when he coming, I don't think, there's not too many of them people that's around that could have handled that.
No, absolutely not. Me either, but I think Anthony Joshua is a little bit more technically sound than most boxers in a certain sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit more technically sound, like as a boxer in a way. He's more rounded. Mm-hmm. That's my personal opinion, and just because of that, I think he could have gave Tyson a couple rounds, maybe like early rounds.
Yeah.
The reason I also didn't pick Fury and Tyson is because Tyson is small and Fury is tall, so that's a perfect match because he's just gonna go. Just like what we were talking about earlier, he's gonna expose that body.
Yeah.
He's gonna eat up that body, man, and he's gonna chop him down like a tree.
Yeah.
So that's why I picked Anthony Joshua, because he's not that tall, and he's a little bit more crafty, so he can move a little bit more. He uses his range a little bit more, in my opinion. And I don't think Tyson would have been able to get in that quick, you know. And then you saw that Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz, the second one, he was moving around. You saw him in the ring. So I think he would have done that a couple rounds with Tyson. But just like you, I mean, you know, obviously I fantasize with that fight, but I also like I said, I have to go with Mike Tyson, man. That guy was a legend. He was a beast. I wish we had more boxers like him. So you got to give credit to his coach, though. I'm not sure if you heard of his coach. What was his name?
Who Anthony Joshua's coach?
No. Tyson, Mike Tyson, Cusimaro.
Oh yeah. I know Cusimaro.
Cusimaro, man, that you know, he created him. And you got to give him credit, man. He did such a great job. I mean, he created that peekaboo, that side. And hitting him to the side.
And Kevin Rooney. Remember Kevin Rooney? Remember Kevin Rooney in Tyson corner?
You said he was in his corner as well?
No, Kevin Rooney. Remember the guy that was in Tyson corner? Kevin Rooney, the guy with the bald spot? Because
is that Mike Tyson?
Yeah, Kevin Rooney was Tyson's corner man. Cusimaro never was in his corner. When Tyson came to fight, Kevin Rooney.
I got you. Yeah. So you're right, because he died. So but for the most part, everything was already already established.
Oh yeah.
You saw that in the amateurs. Remember the amateurs? He was just knocking everybody out, even in the amateurs. And he told him, you know, he told him, he was like, you know, you're gonna be the next heavyweight champion without a doubt.
Yeah.
And sure enough, but it was already established. If you go back, you watch some videos of him showing them that peekaboo style on the bag.
Yeah.
It was all there already. So you know, when he came, it was all just. It's just like what they say, man. You do the matches won in practice. So it was already won before, man. It was already done. So just because of that, you know, that's my favorite boxer right there.
Yeah, that's when they used to call out them numbers to him. Like he had like certain numbers, like he said, give me that 5, 6, 8. So that's like a combination. Like remember the body shot to the side and then the uppercut. Like he knew them he knew them as numbers.
Okay.
So you go back to his old fights, you'll hear Kevin Rooney calling out the numbers to him. I don't know what the numbers are. I'm just saying some numbers. But he knew them as numbers. Like he knew combinations from being numbers.
Just like we know that the 1-2 right now.
Yeah. Hey, we've been on there. I don't want to keep you up all day, but it was something else. Give me your top 5 pound for pound right now today.
So I'm not gonna go. Okay, well, so you know, we said it already. I got I could be biased, but I have to have Canelo first, without a doubt. Absolutely, without a doubt.
That's like you ain't in the universe if you're not aware that Canelo is the best boxer. It don't have nothing to do with skin color or nothing. It's like you say, Canelo, if you know about boxing and anything, you have to rate Canelo as the top pound for pound boxer, just on what he has done.
For sure. And then I got my second one. I know we were disputing the other time whether it's Errol Spence or Crawford, but you know what? After that, I'm like, you know, just because they haven't fought each other and they're playing around a little bit, I'm just gonna automatically jump Fury up. I'm gonna have to put Fury right under Canelo just because he's been doing it and he's been calling dude Tyson Fury.
Yeah, number 2.
Number 2, I got Tyson Fury because he said, give me Wilder. He took a tune-up as well. He took a tune-up and he said, give me Wilder, I'm ready. And sure enough, he said, let me get him. And he got him.
Yeah.
So just because of that, and I think Wilder, I know I've just been talking about Anthony Joshua, but I think Wilder knocks Anthony Anthony Joshua out. So that's why I'm putting Fury second.
Yeah.
Because if Fury beats Wilder and Wilder beats Joshua, then I gotta be I'm assuming Fury beats both Anthony Joshua and Wilder. So I got Tyson Fury second, and then I'm gonna lean towards Spence because Spence been fighting. Obviously, he's not gonna jump the gate and go get Crawford because obviously that's a promotion kind of a situation. So and he already beat Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. He's been fighting dudes already. He beat a lot of Keith Thurman's opposition as well. He hasn't fought Keith Thurman, but he's beaten people that Keith Thurman beat also. So and in better fashion. So I'm gonna go with Spence, and then right there I'm gonna put Crawford. And for the fifth one, let me see who I can place for the fifth. I'm gonna have to roll with Teofimo because Teofimo's doing it as well.
Okay,
Teofimo
so
Lopez, yeah.
you putting Teofimo higher than Lomachenko?
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay, yeah.
Without a doubt.
That's a good answer because I can see how you're breaking it down like Teofimo haven't lost. So
No, he hasn't lost.
Lomachenko had that, that mythical thing that he was the pound for pound, but Teofimo took that away.
Exactly.
So even though he's on a comeback and all that, but that little thing about pound for pound is gone.
Exactly, it's gone. So that's how I got it, man. I got my number one Canelo. I got Fury, Spence, Crawford, and then Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, that's a good five.
Without a doubt. Yes, sir.
I was saying that's a good five.
It is. I think it's fair. I'm playing fair. Like I said, I try not to be biased. It's kind of hard to be biased, but it's kind of hard not to be biased. But I'm trying, not to be biased and giving everybody a fair deal.
Yeah, honest assessment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of things I'm noticing now, because Eddie Hearn is in the UK, but Eddie Hearn has a lot of boxers that hold titles now. So imagine when Joshua came to America. If you remember when he came out, the people didn't even clap. It was like, well, who is this guy? And so where Anthony Joshua fights at, it's pure hysteria when he comes out. So I just imagine like him coming out to somebody that don't even clap, period. Like they looked at him like who is this guy? Even though we know who he is, but he wasn't an American fighter. So now I'm starting to have to adjust to their fighters because they have a good group of fighters that you have to compare with our fighters now. Like Billy Joe and all them, you would have never heard of them if it wasn't for Eddie Hearn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Billy Joe I think he probably had like 30-something fights, and I barely knew who Billy Joe was. I heard of him, but he wasn't nobody on my radar for me to pay attention to. So I didn't really know how to weigh him in his fight against Canelo. I just like Billy Joe as a character. I thought he was good for boxing as like this character thing. You know how Tyson Fury is a fighter, but yet he's a character. You know, like he's kind of like that Muhammad Ali joking around kind of thing. Like he was like messing with Canelo in ways that nobody never messed with him. You know, like cracking little jokes for him, but he was kind of cocky, but he just didn't have the skill. So I gave him credit for just being like this boxing character. Like I didn't know how to rate him on his skills because I hadn't studied him, like how I studied Canelo.
Right. Well, that's what comes with the experience. I was really I was also a little concerned because I'm like, man, I hope he's not getting into his head. And we saw it in the fight. You know, Canelo stayed composed. He wasn't wild. He was taking his time.
Yeah.
And but so he showed experience. You know, it almost reminded me of what was that fight? Manos de Piedras versus what was his name? Was it Durant?
What was the first boxer you named? I didn't hear the name. What was the first name
Who was
you
what?
said? The first name that you said.
That was Manos de Piedras. What was his name? Um,
I don't know who that is. Who
Roberto
is
Duran.
that? Who is Mano?
Yeah, Roberto Duran. And
Oh, you talking about
yeah,
the no mas?
yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. So him versus remember with what's his name?
Sugar Ray?
Who? Sugar, yeah,
Sugar
Sugar
Ray
Ray
Leonard?
Leonard.
Yeah.
You saw how he got into his head, and then after that, Sugar Ray was trying to brawl with him, and he lost. So
Yeah, yeah.
you know, so that's kind of what I thought was gonna kind of happen, but no, he stayed grounded and he did his fight. So don't know, but yeah, going back to what you were saying, Eddie Hearn is bringing a lot of those boxers over there. He's bringing them into the mix. I think that's great for. I think that's great for the sport.
Yeah.
Make more matches. Yeah, we're everyone's getting in the mix. Everyone's getting a little bit of the action, you know. So and now I like the fact that Fury they made the fight with Wilder. You know, that's Top Rank versus Showtime. They were able to make that fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to go with the Zone and Eddie Hearn and make some fights over there, you know. So
yeah.
After this fight, I'm hoping they get that Fury versus Anthony Joshua. That'll be another great fight.
But what if what if Wilder wins?
That's even better, man. We probably get a third fight, or we get Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. That's the fight we also wanted way before. Remember, Fury was retired.
Yeah.
Fury was gone for like a year or two. You know, he was on drugs. He was out, and we were talking about Wilder versus Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
And Fury came in the mix. He said, "Y'all talking too much. Give me the names, man." He said, "Give me some names," and he was like, "All right, I'll take Wilder." So that's what we needed.
I think Joshua, and just in my eyesight, it seemed like the tactics that Wilder do will scare Joshua. You know how he got that little street mentality that, hey, remember we talked about it last time, the angry man thing, like the mean mugging and all that. Not that it's gonna take any effect, but I don't think Joshua can handle that from him. I think he would almost, but I don't know. Hey, he's a fighter. He fought Klitschko. So, you know, I have to, anybody that fought Klitschko and beat Klitschko, it has to be a good fighter. You know, Klitschko's was knocking everybody out. So I just think that he's too quiet for Deontay Wilder, and Wilder will take advantage of that. But it could change the day of the fight, like, you know, once they get in the ring, all that. I think if AJ hits Wilder, it could change the fight. But I think Wilder kind of is like a lion on a hunt looking for a little peak of weakness. You know, like if he see that little sign like you scared of me, I'm gonna have you for lunch. So it's like a mental war game that you got to get through when you're dealing with him. Because, you know, he don't do it to everybody. He just kind of do it to people that kind of come against him. Like I seen him in fights where him and the other fighter was just basically like almost friends, and, you know, until fight day. But I noticed the fighters that kind of talk about doing stuff to him like Fury would, and so Fury kind of got under his skin. But I think Fury got Wilder number. You know, some boxers got your number. I just think that Furious is one of them. Fury beat him 9 out of 10 times. He might get slip in there and knock. Andre Ward came out and said that he think Wilder's going to knock him out. He think he's going to beat him. He think Wilder's going to beat Tyson Fury. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think Tyson Fury is. He's just the kind of fighter that Tyson Fury is. He comes from bare knuckle brawls. So he's a different kind of fighter. He's been fighting bare knuckle fights as a kid. So fighting is like me or you going to play golf. You know what I mean? Like it's just a real sport. That's something that he happens to be good at and can move like a welterweight. So he has an advantage on a lot of heavyweights, just the fact that he can move, like his movement. A lot of people, they got small fighters that can't do that. That stuff he can do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I mean, you can't count that right hand out just yet. We'll have to see. That's why it's very interesting, you know. And then going back to the Anthony Joshua versus Wilder. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's Anthony Joshua's gonna have to close the distance, you know, because we saw Fury has the blueprint for that for the win. It's closing that distance, pushing him back. He don't know. You got to make it an ugly fight. He don't know how to do that. He don't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't think he's mental and mean enough to. He got to change his thought process. When you go in to fight Wilder, you're fighting somebody that's trying to tear your head off. So you got to change this. You're not this nice guy no more. You know, Anthony Joshua is kind of like a gentleman. So he comes in talking the same way how he carry himself, which is good in everyday life. But when it comes to fight time, you got to get just as down and dirty as the person that you're fighting.
Absolutely.
Mike Tyson is an example of scaring you before the fight. You know, Mike Tyson, Alex Stewart's wife was crying the day of the fight, like sitting in the front row crying. She thinks that Mike Tyson is finna kill her husband. That's how scared Mike Tyson done scared them. Mike Tyson done told him, well, he finna kill him. So that's mental. All right, one more question, man. I'm gonna let you up out of here. We can end this. What is your most unrecognized, a boxer that doesn't get his just dues as a fighter, but is good? Like somebody that you feel that should be with the top boxers, but hasn't got the chance.
So I don't know if you have heard of him. So he's an up and coming. He's just a smaller division, like 140, 147. I mean, he's calling out names. He's getting known a little bit, but he's just coming up. His name is Virgil Ortiz.
Oh yeah, Virgil Ortiz is a bad man. Yeah. Hey, whoever Virgil Ortiz, I would have to. But man, I was finna say I put him in the category with Mario Barrios, but I don't know if Virgil Ortiz got kind of a little more killer instinct in him to me. Like that killer instinct, like when you need it. But I feel bad about saying that because Mario Barrios is meant to me such a good boxer, man. I just really hated that like he had to lose like against a fighter, because if he wouldn't have fought Tank, he probably could have went on undefeated for 10, 15 more fights. You know, so but what I'm hoping is that he don't be damaged from that. You know how some fighters get damaged and they never come back the same. So I'm hoping that his confidence don't do nothing to him like that, because he don't have nothing to hang his hat up and be ashamed about that performance that he put up that night.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, yeah, Virgil Ortiz, he seems like a very promising boxer. He's got a lot of good qualities. You know, he's quick. He's
Yeah.
also very I think he's very smart in the ring.
Yeah.
He seems promising. He seems like he has a crack. You know, a punch.
Yeah.
Um, I hope it's real. You know, it seems obviously he's at 140. You know, I don't know if he had a fight at 147 just yet. I can't remember. But if he goes up and if he carries his weight, that'll be good. You know, because right now I'm still curious about his power. That's the only thing that's kind of keeping me like at what is he gonna, if he moves up to 147, if he's gonna keep it or, like the power or not.
Yeah.
If he does, he'll be a bad dude. It'll be like, well, I don't want to compare him with Crawford, but the power Crawford moved up weight division and he has that power.
Yeah.
You know, another small dude that I remember was Oscar De La Hoya, small
Yeah.
dude, and he was dropping big dudes too. You know, and I was like, yo, that's a skinny dude. How
Yeah.
is he? You know, but he had a power. He had that left, man,
Oscar
and
De
I
La
was like,
Hoya was a good fighter. He was like, man, I used to love when De La Hoya was fighting, man. I think he took a bad rap, like from some you know, like it's like the like how you say the Spanish fighters want you to sit there and don't move. They feel like if you move, you're like a coward. You know,
yeah,
so you know, like how so Oscar De La Hoya came with the moving around kind of thing, but still had devastating power. But I think he took some slack, like doing his boxing career from the boxing community, from just moving around as a Spanish boxer. But
absolutely.
he was still Oscar De La Hoya was man, he was a bad dude. Boy. I give credit whenever I give him credit, I got to give it up to him because he was knocking people out, he wasn't just going the distance, he was stopping people.
Yes, he was
Yeah.
a great fighter. You know, he was a great boxer. So absolutely, you know. So yeah, so hopefully Virgil Ortiz lives up to the hype. But yeah, that's the upcoming boxer that I believe seems promising.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's actually a great pick. I had not forgot about him. As soon as you said the name, I've seen him fight maybe his last 3 fights. I like him because he's mean. Like, you know, like I judge fighters once they get in there, like their meanness. Like he can be talking and be like this book student and all that, but once the fight starts, he's a mean fighter, and I think he has power. You said you don't think he got power. I think he got power.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very good fighter, man, especially coming up. Bring as far as attracting the crowd, the money, when it comes to the money. You know, like
exactly.
If Mikey Garcia could announce a fight tomorrow, and Mikey Garcia could have lost 3 months ago. Mikey Garcia fans don't care nothing about him losing. All we want to see is Mikey Garcia fight again. Terrence Crawford, you don't have that luxury. You know, like he's trying to stay on top to get the big fights, but the big fights ain't coming. And then seemed like somehow he kind of, I don't know what's going on with him and Sean Porter. I don't like that situation at all. Talking about they promised each other they wouldn't fight each other. You're in the same weight category. What you mean? We gotta forget about we gotta forget about friends. You know, our friendship don't matter when it comes to making millions of dollars. I could still be your partner tomorrow and be like, Gambino, we gotta do this, man. They're gonna pay you 10, they're gonna give me 6. So we gotta go get this money. You know, I can still put you on video next week. You know, we still gonna be partners, but there's no reason to be a boxer to me. Like if you ain't willing to step in there and do it against somebody. Sean Porter will give him some kind of credibility for fighting the top boxers. You know, if I can't get the Spence, I can't get the Keith Thurman, well, he don't even talk to Keith Thurman. He talks to Keith Thurman like he ain't even a boxer. Keith Thurman called out Crawford. Crawford wrote him back like, you ain't even a fighter. You don't know that, get in the ring with him. You know, Keith Thurman got the name, the credibility that you don't got. So get in there, whoop Keith Thurman. If you think he ain't no boxer and he don't have no credibility, get in there and beat him up and put him on your resume. Boxing is all about resumes, you know, like getting a job. You can't go get a good top-notch job without a good resume. You know, they're gonna be like, well, what have you done? So while he's talking,
exactly. So that's what they're talking about, you know. That's what they mean when they're saying that's why that fight, it doesn't make sense financially. They gotta learn from Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner, he keeps losing. He don't make a good fight, but you know what? Everybody come watch him.
Yeah.
Everybody come watch him, and if he fight tomorrow, he gonna sell again.
Exactly.
And because he know how to sell himself. So that's what they're asking from Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford feels like he shouldn't have to do that. And well, you know, so well, we're gonna have, because of that, we just gonna have to kind of wait and see what happens, you know.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that before he like get a good fight, he might be 37, 38 years old, and then they're gonna make him fight one of these young lions. You know what I mean? And he's gonna get beat up, and we'll never be able to see who Terrence Crawford really was. You know, like
exactly.
all we'll be able to say is he was a good fighter, he was a switch hitter. Oh, okay, well, who did he fight? So right now, I can't even really say nobody on his resume except, like you say, Kell Brooks. Kell Brooks was a good fighter, but look when he fought Kell Brooks after the broken eye socket. So did he really fight the great Kell Brooks? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So his resume is lacking, just like what you're just saying.
Yeah. All right, man. We're gonna end this, man. I think we probably about an hour and a half up in there. But everybody, one more time. This is the great Gambino. Like I said last time, a great boxing mind. So every time you see this video and you see him in there, tune in. You're finna get some great boxing knowledge. And Brother Gambino, peace out, man. I'll see you, man, for the next one. Much love.
All right, man.
Much love to, man, you and your family, man.
All right, man. I appreciate you, and the same for you, man. Best of luck.
All right.
All right, you got it.
All right. Boxing Opinions 100, and we out.
Peace.
All right.